I'm like the Andy Reid of mental coaching, right? I can't play myself, but I can damn sure tell you what
Right.
to do.
Welcome into a brand new episode of 300 Yards to Unknown, coming to you from the Blue Wire Studios at Wynn Las Vegas, a brand new partnership that I'm very, very excited about. Great team here with Blue Wire, this beautiful studio that I get to record out of now on a regular basis. So lots of great things coming, and we're starting with a bang. How about this? In our presence, the one, the only, Scott Blumstein, 2017 World Series of Poker main event champion, and my friend. Thank you. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Rick. I very excited to be here. This studio is beautiful, as you said, and I've been a fan of 300 Yards to Unknown for a long time, and happy to make my debut. So thanks for having me.
The flattery is always a really good way to start.
Yeah, it's a fact.
I appreciate
I don't
that.
lie.
You like the new digs though? There's like
bluff.
there's like an HD camera on you in every single angle.
I know. And we got people, spectators. It's a spectator sport now these days.
This guy's waving to us out from the hallway. Nice to see you.
This is as real as it gets.
Yeah, don't get distracted by it.
I'm not. I'm ready to go. I'm locked and loaded.
All right, let's set the baseline here. You and I don't know how we got connected a year ago, but I think
I slid in your DMs like every good relationship starts in this day and age.
Is that true? Yeah, I guess it is. That's how most of your relationships start.
That's how all of them start.
Yeah, it's been pretty good.
Yeah.
Listen, you are. We'll do the main event stuff. We'll get it out of the way. We'll talk golf. We'll talk fun. We'll do all that. But 2017 World Series of Poker main event. I think there's a lot of crossover between poker and golf, which is why I think you and I jive so well. But take me back to almost 5 years ago. What were you doing before winning the WSOP main event?
Yeah. I was just a grinder. As a poker grinder, I got out of college with an accounting degree, and I didn't really want to be an accountant. So I just kind of tried to make it work. I loved poker in high school and college. I played in home games, and I would, go to the casino when I was 21. And so, I just kind of made a living grinding. I lived in Brigantine, New Jersey, a little island off the coast of Atlantic City, where me and a couple buddies would rent someone's second beach house in the winter for like 7 months and pay like $1,400 a month for the three of us, and drive 15 minutes to Borgata to go play live when we wanted to play. I was fortunate because New Jersey was the first state to get regulated online poker after it got shut down for a majority of the United States. So I would play online there, and, that was life.
I was hoping you were going to go back to the Turning Stone days.
Well,
first.
I guess when I was 18, I used to drive 5 hours to go play poker.
So did we.
Yeah, so.
Such good stuff.
Yeah, so, that's what I'm saying, right? You can relate, right? Everyone, there's a bunch of kids like us who loved poker, and I just decided to try and do it professionally.
Right, so I kind of equate this to almost like professional athletes, right? Like everybody played Little League, and then some people played in high school, and then a smaller amount played in college, and a smaller amount made it to the professional ranks, and then few become MVPs or win a World Series or something like that.
Yeah.
I went to Turning Stone and played poker when I was 19, and we drove up there every single Friday night and stayed until Sunday afternoon, and we came back. And there's a lot of us, like you mentioned, but there's not many main event winners. 30-something, 40. I mean, it's a very small group. Do you ever think about that?
Yeah. It's one every year, and some people back in the day there used to be a couple multiple winners, but there's not many. It's pretty wild. Don't get me wrong. That's what it's just sick because, and this happens in every field, but I grew up. I remember getting into poker because of the World Series of Poker main event, right? Being when Chris Moneymaker won in 2003, that's what everyone's story is. And then, the years after that, it got really popular. And I, used to love watching that on television. It was good entertainment. And that's kind of how I got started. So to win the thing that kind of got me into it was pretty cool.
Where's the bracelet right now?
I can't undisclosed.
Undisclosed location.
300 yards to
undisclosed 300 yards to undisclosed location.
Exactly.
Do you ever wear it?
No.
Why?
I mean, it's impractical.
Is that corny?
It's too big. Yeah, it's too big. It's a trophy. You don't see guys. You don't see Victor Hovland carrying around his animal trophies everywhere.
If it had a chain around it and he could put it on his neck, he might. This is meant to be worn.
Again,
it's a
maybe
piece of jewelry.
The one thing I should have done if I was good at life, it would have been in like a rap video or something. But other than that, it's staying tucked away.
What I don't think people realize is, or maybe they do, the main event, it's not 1 day, it's not 2 days, it's not 3 days. What is it, 8, 9 days long?
It's a grind, yeah. I mean, it's a little hard to define that, but there's 3 starting flights. You could play one of, A1, 1A, 1B, 1C. And then depending on when you play, you get a day off, and then you come back for day 2. And then after that, you play from day 2 to day 7 straight through. And then that's when you make the final table. Then, in the past, that was the first year that they didn't have the November 9.
Right. So they used to pause and then come back like 3 months later for the final table, which kind of changes a lot of dynamics, right? People get coaching. It's a whole different thing.
Yeah, it would have been a whole different ordeal. So I was actually lucky. I'm thankful that there wasn't this huge break. And I had 2 days off. I had 48 hours, but they weren't even off days. I still had to do media stuff. They're like, right. Be at the Rio at 11 a.m. Like, this is an off day,
11 a.m.
But so yeah, it was intense. It's definitely a mentally draining thing. A golf tournament is 4 days, and this was like 10 days of poker in 14 days. So it was a lot, and but yeah, it was. Thankfully, there's not much physical element. It wasn't physically draining; it's mentally draining. So you just gotta stay vigilant and keeping your head good.
Yeah, and you're a big mentals guy. We're gonna get into that. That's my segue to golf here in just 1 second. But the deuce on the river, right? The deuce on the river for $8 million.
Yeah.
What is possibly going through your head in that moment?
Honestly, it was like, it was a sense of relief. I still would have had a chip lead, heads up, still would have been the favorite to win, but just relief that it was over. I was mentally drained. I just didn't want to play more poker, to be honest. I was like, it's so unexpected and just like, yeah, to this day, I don't know, how different is my life if I don't win heads up, right? It's
how different
sick.
Is your life? Because the opportunities that are afforded to the main event champion are not necessarily afforded to the main event runner-up.
Yeah, no one knows, it's a saying. True poker fans know who got second, but I know when, sometimes you forget, right? So yeah, it's wild, and that's the variance in life and stuff. And it was funny. I saw after those 2 hole-in-ones at the Waste Management, I saw a stat that I don't know if it's like depends on the full field or if they make the cut or something, but something was like 8% chance. There's an 8% chance that on a given round on the PGA Tour, somebody makes a hole-in-one, and it hit me. I was like, wait, that's actually more likely than hitting a 3-outer on the river. Like, it's more likely you see a hole-in-one in a random PGA Tour event than me winning the main event on that hand in that situation.
In that moment.
Yeah,
ace 2 versus whatever it was. Ace something. Yeah.
So that's my hole-in-one, and came at the right time. So
you actually have another hole-in-one that came at the right time.
I teed that one up for you. I literally teed that one up for you.
Yeah, we're not quite ready for that.
Damn, I missed the
it's all right. We'll work on that. We'll work on our report here. The mentals. You talk about the mentals.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
And when you and I talk about it, it's generally relating to golf.
Yeah.
When we play together or when we are sweating the PGA Tour event for the week, you are a big believer that a mentally strong person, correct me if I'm wrong, is a strong golfer, is strong in life, right? You're always thinking about what you're thinking.
Yeah. Look, I think that it's an underrated part of most things, and to execute on something at a high level or just to be successful in anything, it's a mindset thing. It's hard to define it, right? I don't have the actual tangible way to put it. But yeah, I mean, if you look at golf and poker, both, that's why there's such a high correlation. They're both mental games in different ways, but one's more physical. But at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, I do believe that, it's little things. It's confidence, right? You see guys in good form. But what's good form? It's just, being, every shot is being in the moment, right? Just being able to execute every shot. Putting is confidence, is repetition, is it's a lot, it's this formulaic thing. And I just think that there's just something to it. I think it's the consistency thing, right? In golf, you can't take a shot off, right? One bad drive can ruin your round. Yeah. One bad approach can ruin your round. And, I think you see a high correlation between that.
The similarities between, let's call it a poker tournament where you're hundreds of hands, right? And a golf tournament, hundreds of shots. Like in the decisions that you're making in the middle of hands, like you could make any variety of decisions across one hand. And you could do the same thing on the next hand and the next hand and the same thing in golf, right? Like I'm going to hit 3 or 4 or 5 shots on this hole and I'm going to do it again on the next one. And I'm going to make like 1,000 micro decisions all the time. And kind of making sure you're in the right mental state for each one of those decisions. It's not unique to golf. It's not unique to poker.
No.
But it's a skill set. It's a skill.
Yeah, and I think it's more important. Not more, right. It's important in everything. But yeah, I think poker and golf are two of the ones it's most important in. Because poker is just straight decision making, right? There is no physical. Anyone can throw the card to the dealer, right? Anyone can
I've seen some cards get exposed. They're not everybody's great physically at throwing cards back to the dealer.
Yeah, but you don't get punished for it, thankfully. But yeah, I mean, poker is just straight up a mental game of decision making and being present in the moment is important. And golf is similar. There's a little bit more of a physical aspect to it, but the mechanics, the timing. I mean, just I think it's hard to argue, and we've talked. We saw it at the, we were talking about it the other day at the Pebble Beach. Where you were a little timid on Jordan Spieth, right? Yeah. And I was like, listen, like there's just something about being at Pebble Beach for him and playing with Jake Owen, his friend, and just being relaxed, and he just went out and had a good couple days. So. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. You can't quantify it, right? I mean, as much as I would love to be able to tangibly quantify it, it's not going to be something I do, but it's real.
You can't quantify it, but there's certainly check marks or checkpoints along the way. You mentioned confidence. I always think a big one is how you rebound after a bad shot, right? So whether it is a putt that you hit that you thought you hit perfect and it didn't drop, or you got an unlucky bounce, or things like there's only so much you can control in golf. And to me, the guys that can kind of separate that from their process are the best at it.
Yep, and we call that tilt in poker, right? I mean, it's a common phrase, tilt. I think that's you're right. I mean, you're gonna hit some bad shots, you're gonna get some bad breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, just how you react to those is important. I think a lot of these guys, I mean, it's a tough sport, man. It really is. And especially now where there's so many good players, it's harder for some of these guys to compete, and it can wear on you. And then you got a guy like Tom Hoagie now, who clearly something is different, right?
It's clicked.
Yeah. Like clearly just the way he is hitting the ball, and it's just different.
Uber confident, right?
Yeah, and it's just upstairs, right? What's the difference between Tom Hoagie of 6 months ago and now? He's just something in his brain is working differently.
I think I can tease this because by the time this comes out, that will have already been out. But I talked to Sam Burns yesterday, and he is just like super even keel.
Yeah.
Right? Like I couldn't get this guy upset if I tried. I also think like Patrick Cantlay is very similar, right? Which while that is boring, while Patrick Cantlay is not going to be the Ricky Fowler of commercials, and you're not
apparently unliked, by the way. Yeah, apparently there's
really
a lot of people. Yeah, I
is it because he
well, it's because he's serious, right? It's because he's clearly on a mission, right? He's a man on a mission these days, But yeah. And then you have Rahm, who's the complete opposite, right? He wears his heart on his sleeve.
Right. And he has gotten, I think he's gotten a little bit, I don't want to say less fiery, but now it's, I walked with him at Torrey Pines. This dude, he had like the 6-foot stare straight down, never acknowledged anything else that was going on. I've never seen anyone laser focused like that. I mean, in between holes, some of those guys are looking around the crowd, they're saying he's just marching on. Yeah. And it's like man on a mission is the only way I could describe it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think focus is a big one. I mean, the people always ask me about the poker stuff. They're like, how did you feel during it, right? How did you? And I was like, the best thing I did by far was just not even realize it was happening, right? Like just kind of like staying in the right. But this is a poker tournament. I'm not going to care about the money or the anything that's going to come with it. I'm just going to make the best decision I can. So, and that's tougher for those. I mean, there's no crowd, like these people, it's tough, man, playing in front of millions of people, playing in front of huge crowds, and it can be difficult. So I think some of these guys are, I think Jon Rahm's certainly working on it, right? He realizes he needs to be less emotional, and that's probably going to help his golf game.
So I asked Sam Burns what it feels like to be in like the heat of the battle, right? Because obviously I was speaking to him before the Genesis Invitational at Riviera, and that was an event that last year he was leading as they got to the final 9 on Sunday. And he said something that I don't think I hear a lot of guys say. He said, to me, like you have to acknowledge that yes, there's a trophy coming and that there is a victory on the line and that there's a lot of money and FedEx Cup points and all that stuff, because he felt not acknowledging it was actually worse. He just wants to be like, yeah, I'm acknowledging it and I'm in this moment and I'm a part of this now and that's okay, as opposed to just being like, well, this shot that I'm about to hit on 13 on Sunday is the same as the one I hit on 2 on Thursday.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, I don't think you usually hear guys admit that they know they're in the moment.
Yeah, look, I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's no one way to do it either. I mean, Tiger was super emotional, right? I mean, he definitely, I don't think there's one way to skin the cat. You have to do what works for you. And, I mean, the only thing look, that tournament ended up not going that great for him.
Correct.
So maybe, there was something to that. But on the contrary, right, it's like, well, he had that taste. He had a couple times where he was in contention, right? Could taste victory, and then but he stuck with it and had a great, 6-7 months after that, and finally got a win, got another couple of close calls, 2 wins. So yeah, I mean, I think that he was trending in the right direction. Yeah, sometimes you're gonna fall short at a tough course like Riviera. I mean, I'm sure he learned from that, right? I mean, in a perfect world, he wouldn't have because he didn't have to do much. He just had to not go down, right? He probably just had to make a bunch of pars and he would have made the playoff at some point. And he just, so it's hard. It's really hard to execute shots that are important even when you know all you need is par, right? It's just hard.
But I think about that kind of relating it back to poker too. Like a hand that you play 2 hours into day one, is it the same value as a hand you play at the final table? I mean, the decision should in theory be quite similar, but it doesn't feel that way, does it?
They're all important, right? I mean, if you don't build a stack early on, you're not going to make a deep run, right? So, I mean, sometimes I'm not impervious to it. You make a bluff that doesn't go your way early on, and then 2 hours later it'll hit you again, right? You'll be like, damn.
And you find yourself in the same spot or something like that, which is all. I mean, that's like how the golf gods find you too, right? Yeah. Like you do something where you block one left and you can't go left, and sure enough, 2 holes later, I've got the same shot, and now it's like you're playing mind games with yourself.
And I'm sure that happens to these guys, right? I'm sure it happens where they're on 17 on Saturday, and it hits them that they're like, oh, I really wish I didn't make a bogey on 3 earlier today. I wish I didn't give that stroke away. And that can seep into your game at that point, right? If at 17, now you're thinking about the mistake you made on 3. Now you might hit a bad shot on 17. So it's tough. It's hard. Yeah, that's like the hardest part about all these things for me, for sure, is knowing that to be like that you have to be good to be successful, but that mistakes are going to happen, but you can't make those mistakes if you want to win, right?
Right.
So it's like, how do you find that balance, right? It's like, no, like just don't make the mistake. But like, okay, I made a mistake. damn, I wish I didn't make that mistake. I know I can't make that mistake.
But
so it's this circular thing that
it's like you need the experience of making the mistake to not make the mistake the next time.
yeah, which is why it's hard, right? Which is why it's tough. I mean, I punted off thousands of tournaments before I tried to punt off the main event twice. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I definitely try. I made I went from 100 big blinds to 20 big blinds in one hand with 15 people, with like 80 people left and with 15 people left. It happened twice, and thankfully I got, back into it. But like, if it would have stung with me forever, right? I probably would have never had that chance. So there's variance, all this stuff. I mean, yeah, it's, again, golf, I think you have a little bit more control than you do in poker in some sense. It's hard to quantify, but yeah, it's, and that's why I think golf, I mean, clearly the cream rises to the top more in golf than it does in poker, right? So
poker's probably more random.
Exactly. There's way more variance in poker. And that's why golf is even more frustrating when I see these guys make these mistakes, that it's like, just don't drive it left in the rough, just put it in the fairway. Yeah, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's easy for me to say, but yeah, I think that's the difference, right? That's what separates the guys that are winning tournaments and not. They're just making less mistakes.
What percentage of professional golfers, let's just call it PGA Tour players, are using like psych coaches, and what or do you think are using psych coaches, and what percentage do you think should be?
Yeah, I think I don't know what percent use them. Probably 40%.
Okay, I was going to say like 25.
I think it's a little higher than that.
I think some of the young
starting
guys
to
think
get
they're
more.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you have Colin Morikawa, who works with Rick Sussinghouse, who's he's won 2 majors before the age of 24. So
yeah, I
think that that guy's doing something right. There was a story about Rahm using a former bomb diffuser.
That's right. Yeah.
As his mental coach. And look, I don't know there, to define it. I'm sure your swing coach can serve as both.
Sure.
I mean, as
or
long
your
as,
caddy in the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Your caddy should be, in my opinion, your caddy should be symbiotic with someone who's your mental coach, right? They should.
Yeah, there's something more valuable of having real-time feedback than like, hey, remember that session you had with so-and-so 2 weeks ago and he talked about not getting upset in this moment? Like, well, now it's that moment, right? And now your bag man could be the person who plants that little bug in your ear.
Yeah, who just knows what to say, when to push your buttons, when not to, when to, give you that little confidence boost, when not to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think they all should, to answer your question. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think all athletes should. I think every person on earth should. So I'm a bad person to ask.
I think you'd be a good mental coach for golfers.
Yeah, maybe. I need to figure out my own life first.
No, that's you like use them as like the guinea pigs and whatnot.
Yeah.
See what works for them.
I joke all the time. I'm like the Andy Reid of mental coaching, right? I can't play myself, but I can damn sure tell you what to do.
And then be successful at it? That's so good.
So, look, I mean, life is hard. That's what I'm saying. It's, I'm sure these guys got stressful. They're on the road all the time. They're constantly traveling. Their families are, somewhere. Some of them have. So, yeah, I just someone to talk to about how, even going over. In poker, one of the most important things we do is hand history reviews, right? Yeah. That's how you get better, right? For us, we have our hands in a database that we go back and we go over how we played. We evaluate how you play, right? So like, even just doing that for golf, what's that look like? I mean, some guys have their shots recorded from TV, some don't.
Yeah.
Just going back and saying, hey, like, maybe I would just my swing was a little fast there, right? Or I don't know. I mean, I'm not a.
Do you think that golfers are doing the equivalent of hand history reviews? Do you think they're going back after and saying, okay, so here's 71 shots. Let's figure out what we did right, what we did wrong?
I think they should be. I don't know how.
I don't think they are.
You don't think so?
I mean, I think guys will go through it mentally, but I don't think it's as formal.
Yeah, I don't. If you don't have video evidence of it, it's going to be hard. But that's what football players do, right? They watch film. I mean, it's a little different.
They've got a week to do that for the next game. I feel like when you finish up on Thursday afternoon and you're back out there on Friday morning, it's easy to not think about your past decisions.
Yeah, it can be tough. I just think, I don't know. Again, there's nothing that says you have to to care or whatnot. I just think that in order to be successful, you gotta, it's like something click. I mean, that's what it was for me. I mean, when things started to click, I think confidence is probably the answer, right? I mean, that's, maybe that's what we're just looking for, right? The word confidence, right? The belief in yourself that you can. And it's easier for the guys with the more talent, right? There's still this talent divide. It's hard. I don't know. Some guys are capped. Some guys are probably not going to win a PGA Tour event, right? It's not going to happen.
The vast majority are not.
Yeah. So then at that point, then it's just about being happy with the success that you're having. It's trying to be the best you can be, right? The best version you can be, and then you never know. Maybe you just try to outpace yourself. You make the cut and you get 30th, and that's a good result. So.
Yeah, we've heard Kevin Kisner say stuff like that before, right? Like they pay a lot for T20, like that'll do the trick. It used to be a lot easier to see who the guys were working with mental coaches before they could tap down the spike marks, because you'd always they'd miss a putt and they'd start pointing out like, well, it definitely wasn't me, right? Which is like what mental coaches tell you is like you want to be 100% committed to yourself, like find an external something that caused that bad thing to happen to you, and you could always tell who those guys were when they started blaming spike marks and things like that.
Yeah, it's becoming a little bit, harder to blame outside stuff.
How would you assess your own golf game, Scott?
Work in progress.
We played yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
that wasn't fair.
Look, I'm gonna do the same thing with golf that I did with poker. I'm gonna stink for like 4 years, try to think I know everything, do it all, try to figure it out on my own. And then one day I'm going to get told the right thing to do and then at that point I'll probably figure it out the next year and eventually make the Champions Tour. So
you got time for that. Yeah. You have gotten significantly better at golf since I've met you.
Right.
You agree with that statement?
Yeah. I mean, it's a consistency thing. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I've gotten better as good as you can get without actually learning the fundamentals and having a coach. Right. So, look, I kind of like it that way. I mean, I want the challenge of kind of trying to get as good as I can on my own, and then, look, I'm not going to ever do it professionally or anything like that, but I just like being outside, and it's a hobby as of right now, and it's that weird balance of trying to get good while also not mattering, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is a weird balance, right? Like we know we're never gonna profit off of this. We know we're never gonna. It's almost entirely an internal battle. It's you versus you. Sometimes it's you versus the course, or you versus the wind, like it was yesterday, or whatever it was. But it's like for the most part, it's you versus you, which is scary. It's tough. It's easy to get frustrated. It's just like the golf is significantly more mental than I think people want to. Give it credit for.
100%. Well, that's what I'm saying. As an amateur, even like the mental aspect. It's like the amount of effort I have to put into every shot mentally for it to be even remotely like close to good is so high that it's draining. I mean, that's it's like I'm standing over the ball. I'm like, okay, body still. Like take good takeaway. Like don't it's like that. The tempo and stuff. So it takes a lot out of you to really put that much effort into every shot, and even and when I do hit a good one, it's like, oh, that's cool. Like I that time I did it. I did what I was supposed to.
I used to get very frustrated playing golf, and I used to hit a bad shot, and I would yell an expletive or whatever. But I think as I've gotten older, I've realized I'm like not good enough to get upset, right? Yeah. Like what is my expectation, right? Like, okay, I hit a shot fat. Like, of course I did. Like, I'm not that good.
Yeah.
Right. I should be more upset if I was better.
It's funny though, but because you are good though, like you have the tools, your swing is good. What's stopping you from actually being a stick? Like, I don't know. I mean, there's not much other than so I guess lessons, right? I mean, maybe you're doing some fundamentally things wrong, like. Maybe it's that consistency thing. Like I've seen you hit good shots, right? Yeah. So it's in you.
It's there.
You just have to do that every single time.
Well, that would be nice.
And then you're a good golfer. So I don't know. I mean, maybe you need to get yourself a mental. We gotta get you.
Yeah, maybe I'll hire you.
That's it. We'll try to get you to a 6 by maybe that's a whole nother content stream.
Yeah, I was gonna say that we'll have to vlog that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you could do it. I mean, you could do it.
path to-
Again, you could do it, but I don't. But you got other stuff going on, so it's fine. But you're good for a content creator. You're
Thank
pretty
you.
good.
I'll
Yeah.
take that. Good for a content creator is exactly what I'm looking to be.
Better than Pat Mayo.
Ooh, that is true. That is true. Don't let anybody tell you different. Although it was, oh my God, how bad was it yesterday? It was brutal.
It was bad.
Firm, fast, windy.
Yeah, conditions are, it's a wind is tough to,
Talk about a million things you can't control.
Well, stop blaming. Yeah, exactly. It shouldn't matter too much. But yeah, it wasn't great.
We are here at Wynn Las Vegas, which has a beautiful golf course, right? It's right down there. I can almost see it from here. You, sir, have some exciting memories around that golf course. Now, for people who don't know, they renovated this a couple of years ago, right? And they created the 18th hole, which is now a par 3, which is rare, right? Don't usually see a par 3
No.
18th. Greenbrier has one.
Yeah, outside of that, almost
I can't think
never.
of any other one.
Yeah.
And there's like this huge waterfall behind it. And what they actually do, Scott, is if you make an ace, I think it's depending on the tee box, you can win like $5 grand, 10 grand, 15 grand, right? That's how this
10,
works.
15, 20.
Oh, apologies.
Yeah.
10, 15, or 20. So if you play it from the tips or whatever the back tees
Yeah.
are, you make an ace,
Yeah.
you win 20 grand.
Yeah, crazy.
How crazy is that?
It's cool. It's cool. It really takes you back to your childhood when you used to have to try to hit it in the clown's mouth at mini golf.
On the last hole.
Yeah,
To win a free round.
Yeah. Was it a free round or was it golf for life?
I thought it was like ice cream in the clubhouse.
It was probably
something.
just one free round.
Yeah, something like that.
Something that's probably happens like 1% of the time.
Right. And you know this 18th hole is lurking as you're playing all the other holes. You know you're going to get a crack at glory.
I had played it once before and I knew the deal. Yeah, I mean, thankfully I was playing with some sharp guys who were professional sports bettors who, when the caddy was like, you can stay at the tee box you're playing and hit from 180
this was
and
sharp.
win 15K, or you can move up to the, up tees, which is
like 130 or
a
something.
$130.
Yeah.
For 10K,
I think that's worth the move.
Yeah. So we swallowed our pride and we went to the up tee box.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the caddies because one of the first questions when people hear about this is like, well, how do they verify it? I would just say I made a hole in one. Well, you have every group has a caddy.
Yep.
And also, believe it or not, Scott, as you can imagine, they have cameras out there to ensure this. So I've secured the footage here. So
from Steve Wynn's old office.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's his old the cameras from up in that. Yeah. So
I don't know about that, but I know that I have footage of you making this ace. Can we run this, guys? Here it is. There it is. Oh, look at this. Lands in the front of the green, rolls right in, and there you are.
Nothing but the bottom
Jumping
of the hole.
around.
That's the highest I've ever jumped.
Look at that.
Yep.
Novelty
Me
check
and
as
David,
well.
the caddy.
So how would you first of all, so talk me through the shot. Pitching wedge that lands what? Front edge of the green, rolls in. That's not backspin. That lands on the front and rolls in, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like when I found out the round was going to cost $600, I said,
You had to get a little ROI on
yeah,
that?
I was like, and I knew this whole was coming. I was like, I would love to, I would have just been happy to break even, but yeah, and then we my buddy Preston, he's a positive guy, usually a good vibes guy. He made some comment like, I have a good feeling about this. The only thing, I mean, it's look, it's. We also had, unfortunately, we swapped 10% as a foursome.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Just as like a little insurance of if one of you made it.
Yeah. Unexpected. I should have known I was going to make it and I should have declined, but I'm a little too nice of a guy.
10% of each of those guys.
Yeah.
Each of those, right.
Yeah. Like they were never making home runs. It was going to be no one or me. So I shouldn't have done it, but I agreed to it. So by the time I gave out, that money, and then I took care of the caddy.
As I imagine you must in a situation like that.
Yeah. So whatever. We broke even for the round. Left with a little bit of daily fantasy money, and it was a good day.
The giant check, which is honestly, that's my favorite part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
When you sent me the photo of that, I was like, yeah, this is the best part because that's like your trophy, right? The money's just going to go into the bank account, or probably, I don't even know if it made it out of the win. Maybe you just took it over to like the blackjack table or something.
No, it left it.
Okay, so like this giant check that now I presume is at your home.
Yeah.
What I would have it on the wall. What do you do with it?
Yeah, it's hanging up. It's got a nice spot. Yeah, I got a little.
I don't know if
flag.
you're like a sentimental. Are you a sentimental kind of guy?
I mean, a little bit. I don't know. It's a cool. What am I gonna do? Just throw it out? It's a 2-bit.
No, I would frame it. I would show people when they walked in, but I'm not. I'm not.
Well,
sure
it's more. It's seeing more of the daylight than the bracelet than the main event bracelet. So. Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm not it's on display for sure.
You are, I think this is safe to say, the only person on the planet who has won the main event and made an ace for 5 figures. That's got to be safe to say, right?
Yeah, and that's probably like third and fourth on the luckiest things that have ever happened to me with.
Yeah, like. Scott run good. Like, could you run literally any better? Like those are like the two statistically most astronomical things.
The way my brain works is I should definitely be dissected for science because I 99% of the time I'm just like bad at we talked about the mental health. I'm like bad and then 1% of the time I'm just the best on earth. Like I just put it together. Like that swing was just when I wanted, we joked about it, and then I stepped up and I made a hole in one. I don't know. It was a great pitching wedge.
Did you flush it?
Green
like it was,
It was a perfect spin. WSP main event, my back is against the wall. I just go out and I win the main event. And then I had to drag you out of bed this morning to come do this, and it's like.
So
yeah, exactly. Like every now when I have flashes of brilliance, and that's I'm fine. It's great.
Honestly, that's probably the way to live life.
Yeah,
is like hit ceiling like 4 times.
Yeah,
and just like it's just like if you won 4 majors or 4 PGA Tour events, you'd probably be pretty thrilled about it, right? And just
no complaints here, right? Well, that's what I'm saying. What's a golfer who's like that? Who's a golfer that's like mediocre a lot of the time, and then every now and then he just
Jim Herman's done it a couple times.
There you go. Perfect example. I'm the Jim Herman of he hasn't won a major. I would try to think of a major winner, I guess. But it's happened. It's happened.
I like that.
Danny Willett. Right?
So you mentioned a little extra DFS spending money. There is literally, I'm not exaggerating, literally, what's going on behind me?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
I'm here.
You're distracted, which is it goes perfectly hand in hand with my next point. I have never seen anyone sweat the PGA Tour app like you do. Do you first of all, do you realize that? Do you realize that you seemingly refresh the PGA Tour app on Thursday and Friday morning every 6 seconds?
Yeah, I live for fantasy golf. I live for golf now. That's my only purpose as of right now, which is not healthy. Not healthy. Especially it's kind of, it's silly, right? Like, again, gambling on other humans and stuff, like, I don't know. But I love golf and I like gambling. So I just combine the two, and that's, I know, but every shot's important though, Rick. Need these when you need to score, you need fantasy points early. You can't just expect. How about the guy who you're right, because it's not healthy. Because I would have been the guy this past weekend who had Scotty Scheffler on a good lineup, and I'd be cursing the heavens.
We'd be playing golf, and you'd be like, can you believe what he's doing?
How bad am I for playing Scotty Scheffler? I knew it was fade Scotty Scheffler.
Right.
This is like a therapy session right here. I don't get to talk about this very often. So maybe I'll get better. Probably not this weekend, but going forward. But I'd be like, I why did I play Scotty Scheffler? And then he'll shoot a 62, and all will be good in the world.
Get himself into a
But I need it. I need it to feel alive, sadly. I need to sweat every shot.
You can also seemingly remember every shot that has ever burned you. Garrick Higo generally comes up quite often.
No,
Tyler Duncan, maybe. I mean, there's just like there are moments that I know.
But every golf bettor's like that. Don't single me. Yeah, come on. Your fan base.
Yeah, I think we remember. Stuff that late on Sunday, like when Martin Laird, makes a par on 17 at Summerlin, and everyone's holding a Matt Wolf ticket or whatever. Yeah. But like, there are shots on like Thursday afternoon.
Yeah,
that you're like,
I'm a little bit more. It's important to me. But again, I think talking about it now, I feel weird. Again, these guys, this is their guy's livelihood. I don't feel great about.
I mean, I guess if you're gonna do it, you should there is part of me that's like, well, I should do it like Scott. Like, if I'm going to like take the time to put all this effort into it and all these resources into it, I should care Thursday morning.
Yeah, sorry for caring. I mean, again, it's stupid that I can't control anything. Like, I will give you that like caring about something I have no control over is pretty stupid. But
here we are.
It's gambling. I would like it more than any. What am I going to do? Play blackjack? I mean, no, I don't. I don't know. One day, because this is why. You want to know the truth? Because there's no better feeling than when all your guys are rolling. When all 6 guys are making they're birdieing the par 5s they're supposed to, right? Yep. They're birdieing par 3s. They're making that 12-foot par putt. I mean, there's no And then you get closer. You just want the sweat, right? I just want the sweat. I don't even need to win. I just want the chance that if these 6 guys do well.
Yeah. You know what I want? I just want to see shot 2 to 12 feet. You know what I mean? Like that's the sweat, right? That's the give me a chance here. Hit the fairway on a par 5. Give yourself a chance to get there.
Yeah, and then you gamble. That's what I'm saying. This is why I don't have as much success as I do, because I have this weird bias towards guys that are great ball strikers, right? That are constantly getting to this 12 feet mark and then missing the putt, right? The only way to score in golf is to make that putt, right? Like, I don't care how often you hit it. So like, I have a hard time gambling on guys that can't putt. I really do. But it bites me because the guys that can putt are usually, it takes them 3 shots to get to the green.
Right. Then they roll in a 35-footer.
I'm like, I knew it.
I knew it was coming.
So yeah, that's what's cool about golf. That's the coolest thing about golf. There's so many different characters. I mean, poker's the same way, right? You got aggressive players, you got tight players, you got GTO wizard robots, and you got old school feel players. And golf is the same way. There's different character builds, and you just kind of gotta. But you have to do all things to win a golf tournament. You have to do all things well, right? You have to drive the ball well, you have to approach well, and you have to putt well. And finding guys that are really good at one thing, you expect them to bring to the table one thing that you see that they're maybe in, and you find the 1 week where they're doing everything well. Yeah, that's when it's fun.
We'll wrap with this because you mentioned kind of having a propensity for specific guys. I swear, once a week, once every couple weeks, it's a Tyler Duncan sweat for you.
I don't know.
This is a guy that you keep going back to.
Yeah, because he is like top 10 on tour in fairway and driving accuracy, and it's important to be in the fairway, right? It's essential to be in the fairway. His wedges are, again, top 10, right? I mean, so shorter. I mean, the problem is you probably. So this was the swing season. You got a couple Amex,
Those are the good spots for him.
Yeah, so I get him. He won a tournament once. He knows he's a guy who should know he can do it. He's not the best putter in the world. He's not the best. So it's he's kind of capped. He's a smaller guy, but.
But those are the guys that'll give you the 200 to 1, 300 to 1 sweats.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, like Jim Herman. Jim Herman picks one off at 300 to 1 once every 18 months.
Yeah, and that's what's fun about it, right? I mean, he's trying to get the big number. Again, it feels weird like talking about it from a selfish perspective when it's like Tyler Duncan is just trying to win a golf tournament for Tyler Duncan. He doesn't care that I'm believing
that you
him.
care about him.
Exactly, right? So, but if you're listening to this, Tyler, you got this, man. And he had it. He had it at Sedgefield. I got
Sedgefield, that was the one. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I didn't even bet him pre-tournament. I waited a little bit. I saw that he birdied the hardest. That's what I look for. When guys are birdieing the hardest hole in the course, you know that they're probably in good form, right? So he birdies the first hole. I go to DraftKings Sportsbook. I see 800 to 1.
800.
Yeah. So I bet him at 800 to 1. And then he shoots like a 63 that day. I was right. He's in the lead on Saturday, like 4 holes in. He's got a 1-stroke lead. He plays that same hard hole, 12, hits it to the left, gets in and makes a 6. And unfortunately, that's all she wrote. But I don't know. That's fun, right? Having a. It went to 6 to 1. I went all the way to. He was 6 to 1.
From your 800 to 1.
Yeah. So that's cool.
So you got some not closing line value.
We call it Sklansky bucks in poker.
Bucks.
Yeah, this guy David Sklansky. He originated this term where it's in poker where you get right. It's like my ace king should have beaten ace jack.
But it didn't. So I get credit for getting it in good.
Yep. So those are Sklansky bucks.
So you got it in good. So you got Sklansky bucks for Tyler Duncan.
Yep.
800 to 1 to 6.
Yeah, that's all you can do. That's again, he's
I like it.
Yeah, we gotta start getting in touch with these people. It's the play.
If golf tournaments were 33 holes, Tyler Duncan would win every one of them.
No, this Tyler Duncan's fast. Yeah. I don't know. That's why DraftKings is cool. You gotta find you can't if you're gonna play John Rahm and Pat Cantlay. You gotta dig in the.
You gotta play Tyler Duncan.
Yeah, you gotta dig in the. You gotta pick your guys in the bargain bin.
I love it, Scott. Anything else before we get out of here? Any?
No, man. It's no. Golf and poker, two fun games that are incredibly frustrating, that are difficult, and like you said, mental games. And I know that there's a lot of people that love both of them, and that's it. Yeah, they're good. That's what we're here for. Great games.
Yeah, they align well. I love it. What's your Twitter handle?
I am at sblum2711. SBLUM2711. That's Instagram as well.
Scott Blumstein. Always appreciate Scott. Good friend, and he could help me christen the new Blue Wire studio for the first time. Much appreciated. I love that.
My pleasure. This is great.
That'll do it for this episode of 300 Yards to Unknown, and we'll catch you next time.